Think about someone right now. Maybe it's an ex. Maybe it's someone who hasn't texted back. Maybe it's a person who made you feel something you can't quite name, and then disappeared. You've told yourself to stop thinking about them, maybe 100 times, and yet they're still there, rent-free, living inside your head at 2 inches the morning. Here's the part nobody tells you. That's not weakness. That's not you being obsessed or broken or pathetic. That's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, running a program so ancient, so deeply wired into your neurology that willpower alone almost never shuts it off. By the end of this video, you'll understand precisely why your brain locks onto certain people, and more importantly, what's actually happening inside your mind when it does. Let's start with a drug, not a pill. Not a substance, a chemical your brain produces all on its own. One that is more powerful than cocaine when it comes to keeping your attention locked. Dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. That's not quite right. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz spent decades studying this and discovered something surprising. Dopamine isn't released when you get a reward. It's released when your brain anticipates a reward, when it expects one, and crucially, when that reward becomes unpredictable. In his experiments with monkeys, a predictable reward, press button, always get juice, produced a dopamine spike at first. But over time, the spike faded. The brain adapted. It got bored. But here's where it gets fascinating. When the reward became random, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Dopamine levels didn't just stay consistent, they went through the roof, and they stayed elevated. The brain became obsessed with solving the pattern. The less certainty your brain gets, the harder it becomes to let someone go. This is called a variable reward schedule. It's the same mechanism behind slot machines, behind social media scroll feeds, and behind the person you cannot stop thinking about, the one who sometimes makes you feel amazing and sometimes goes completely cold. Imagine someone who always replies instantly. They're warm, consistent, available. Your brain processes that as safe, and then moves on to other things. No obsession, no constant checking. Now imagine someone who replies passionately one day, goes silent for 3, then sends you something that makes your heart stop. Your brain doesn't move on. It can't. Because it's running a calculation that has no answer yet. Psychologists call this a reward prediction error. Your brain made a prediction, and reality didn't match it. That mismatch creates a neurological crisis. Not a big one, just a quiet, persistent one. A loop that keeps running in the background of your mind, trying to solve the equation. When did they go cold? Why? What did I say? What does their behavior mean? Will it change? Your brain is a pattern recognition machine that evolved over hundreds of thousands of years, and it treats social uncertainty the same way it treats physical danger, as something that must be resolved. So it keeps thinking, and thinking, and thinking. This is why you can spend hours replaying a 2-minute conversation. This is why you notice every tiny detail of how someone looked at you. Your brain has flagged this person as an unsolved equation, and it will not rest until it finds closure. In the 1920s, a Soviet psychologist named Bluma Zygarnik noticed something strange while sitting in a Viennese cafe. The waiters there could remember every detail of open, unpaid tabs, complex orders from multiple tables. But the moment a table paid their bill, The waiter forgot the order almost instantly. She tested this in her lab. Her finding: the human brain retains interrupted, unfinished experiences at dramatically higher strength than completed ones. Think about that. Your brain doesn't hold on to what's finished. It holds on to what isn't. And what is a relationship that ended without explanation, without resolution, without a real conversation? It's an open tab, a story without an ending. Your brain will keep that file open, running in the background, consuming mental energy. Sometimes for months, sometimes for years. This is why closure feels so essential. It's not an emotional cliché, it's a neurological need. Your brain needs to close the file, and when it can't, it obsesses. The people who haunt us most are rarely the ones who hurt us the most. They're the ones who left things unresolved. There's a principle in behavioral economics called the scarcity heuristic. When something is rare or hard to obtain, our brain automatically assigns it higher value. Not consciously, automatically. Robert Cialdini studied this extensively. In one experiment, people rated ordinary cookies as more desirable when there were only 2 left in the jar, even though the cookies were identical to the ones in the full jar right next to it. Now apply that to people. Someone who is emotionally available, consistent, and interested in you. Your brain doesn't register them as scarce, and because of that, they don't trigger the same intensity of focus. They feel nice, safe, but not urgent. Someone who is distant, inconsistent, or seemingly indifferent, your brain registers them as scarce, as a limited resource. And suddenly, without your permission, they become more interesting, more desirable, more impossible to stop thinking about. This isn't logic, it's evolution. For most of human history, social rejection was genuinely dangerous. Losing your place in a tribe could mean death. So your brain developed a deep alarm system for any threat to social belonging. Indifference from someone you care about doesn't feel neutral. It feels like a threat. And threats demand attention. Now, here's where it gets modern. And honestly, a little disturbing. Every one of these psychological mechanisms, the dopamine loop, the prediction error, the Zeigarnik effect, the scarcity response, social media was designed, intentionally or not, to supercharge all of them simultaneously. You check if they've watched your story. They have. You check if they've posted. They have. You notice they're online, but haven't messaged you. Each of these micro moments sends a small jolt through your reward circuit. Did the pattern change? Is the equation solved now? The answer, algorithmically, is always not quite. Just enough stimulus to keep you checking. Not enough resolution to let you close the loop. And unlike the real world, where eventually you stop running into someone, social media keeps them perpetually present. One tap away, every morning, every night. Your brain cannot achieve the natural emotional distance it would develop on its own, because the stimulus never actually stops. This is why breakups in the social media era feel uniquely brutal. You're not missing a person. You're missing a person while watching a curated, filtered version of their life continue without you. That is a different kind of cognitive torture entirely. Now here is the part that most people never reach. The part that changes everything. The person you're obsessing over, they may not be who you're actually thinking about. Psychologists have found that when we fixate intensely on someone, especially someone unavailable, we're often not processing that specific person. We're processing a feeling, a wound, a narrative our brain has been carrying for a very long time. The unavailable person becomes a screen, a projection surface. Your brain uses them to replay older patterns. Patterns from childhood attachment, from past rejection, from the moment you first learned that love was something you had to earn, or chase, or wait for. This is why the obsession rarely ends with understanding the other person better, because they were never fully the point. The obsession is your nervous system trying to resolve something much older, much deeper. You're not obsessing over them. You're obsessing over the version of yourself that still doesn't feel certain you're worth staying for. That is the real pattern, and that is the one worth examining. So what do you do with all of this? First, stop fighting the obsession with willpower alone. That's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It doesn't resolve the loop, it exhausts you. Instead, name what's open. What unresolved question is your brain actually trying to answer? Say it out loud, write it down. The act of articulating the loop begins to close it. Second, reduce the variable reward. If social media is the slot machine, you know what to do. It doesn't have to be permanent, but you cannot think clearly when you're being continuously stimulated by the very thing your brain is trying to process. Third, and this is the hardest one, ask yourself what older story this person plugged into, not who they are, what they represent, what part of you they activated, because that part of you is the conversation worth having. The brain trick that makes you obsess isn't a flaw in your wiring. It's an ancient, intelligent system asking you to pay attention. The question is, are you paying attention to the right thing? If this video made you think of someone, or made you think of yourself in a way you didn't expect, share it and tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you realized while watching this that you weren't expecting? I read every single one. If you're new here, this is PsycheSphere, where we explore the hidden mechanics of the human mind, one behavior at a time. Subscribe if you want to keep understanding yourself and the people around you more deeply. I'll see you in the next one.